welcome back to the channel. I've got a new video for you guys today. Echo wants to be in the video. Oh no, claws! You know, you could have just asked to be put down. You didn't have to claw me. You are utterly distracting. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Megan Tennant, in case you didn't already know, and today we are talking my top 9 sex and romance pet peeves. So I'm gonna go ahead and just assume that everyone on Earth now expects insta-love and love triangles to be in these types of lists, so I'm gonna go ahead and just cut those out, because I'm sneaky that way. This list also doesn't include the most horrible offenders, the worst, terrible cliches and tropes, because those deserve a little bit more than just sassy remarks. So those are getting a video all to themselves. And that video will be going up sometime soon. So if you want to see that video as soon as it comes out, which of course you do because it's going to be great, it's going to be funny, there's going to be sketches, go ahead and subscribe down below and hit the bell so you get notified as soon as that video goes up. But today we're just talking my more pet peeve side of sex and romance tropes. And I'm going to do this list a little bit differently. I'm going to do it in reverse. So I'm gonna start at 9 and we're gonna count down to 1, which will be the worst romance and sex scene pet peeve that I have for books. So pet peeve number 9, super weird words for penis and vagina. Look, if you're committing to an on-paper sex scene, you can commit to using real words, or at least words that are close to being real words. Because if I read engorged flesh, I am out. Do you know what engorged flesh makes me think of? Leeches. And I mean, I'm not here to kink shame or anything, but the average person doesn't find leeches sexy. And if I read meat scepter, I'm gonna just laugh hysterically and I'm no longer gonna take any part of that scene seriously. Pet peeve number 8, when birth control isn't addressed at all. Especially in YA literature, and especially in post-apocalyptic. Do you know what you really don't want to have when you're surrounded by cannibals? A very loud crying baby. After all, babies taste best. And cannibals eating your baby is not a very good form of birth control. I do not recommend it. Now, if you want a video telling you how to write birth control in the apocalypse, I might have happened to make one of those. You can check it out. I'll link it in the description down below. Also the card up here. It's a pretty great video. Also, if you think that the apocalypse is coming, you could always watch that video so you know for yourself what kind of birth control to use, so you don't end up running from zombies while trying to juggle a baby. And keep your eye out for a fantasy edition of birth control in fiction, going live very soon. Pet peeve number 7, flawless characters, especially in dangerous worlds. Give them a scar or something, but don't describe them as the most beautiful or handsome person the main character has ever seen, because I will scream. Let them be average height, give them some normal sized muscles, give them some asymmetry. Same with personality, let the main character recognize a flaw or two in the love interest. Because that's the thing about love, when you love someone, the flaws stop mattering as much, but to show that in a character, you have to actually introduce the flaws first. And if you're thinking, well, what if my character kind of is into them from first glance? What if maybe they love them just a little bit from that first meeting? That's called insta-love. And if you include that in your book, readers will all scream. Pet peeve number 6, mated, bonded, magically tied for some seemingly arbitrary reason that normally relates to destiny. Especially when the other person is a baby. Seriously, who thought that Jacob Esme thing was a good idea? Multiple people had to greenlight that idea for it to get into that book. How did that happen? Okay, look, I get that a ton of people actually really love this trope. And that's probably because there's really strong feelings tied with the whole, oh, we were meant to be together and no matter what happens, we'll end up together kind of thing. But then there's the issue of where would you draw the line and dump that person? And then there's the question of who's controlling this weird magic mated bonding thing in your world? And why are there no friendship magics like this in your world? When I read this, it comes off as lazy, and I assume that it's a way for the author to excuse either ridiculously early infatuation or even obsession. And that's kind of just another form of insta-love. Pet peeve number 5. Bleeding virginity. It baffles my mind that this is still a thing, written even by women who likely themselves did not bleed when they lost their virginity. But people see it on TV, so even if they didn't experience it themselves, they think, oh, well, I'm just gonna write my character bleeding everywhere because that's what everyone does. No, look, most women, like the vast majority of women, have lost most, if not all, of their hymen by the time they reach adulthood. And if there's proper foreplay, and if you're writing your character's first ever sex scene and there's no foreplay, I will throw a book at your head, then there should be at max a few drops of blood. And I said at max. Pet peeve number 4. When characters are retroactively rewritten to justify a partner change in a series. The Shatter Me series is very guilty of this. In book 1, Adam is the swooniest swoon that our main character ever swooned over. And then suddenly, bam, book 2 and 3 come along and suddenly his character is horrible. Why? So we don't judge Juliet for dumping him and going to Warner. I'm perfectly cool with partner changes mid-series, but you can't just go and rewrite a character's character so that we stop liking them, so that we don't judge the main character for switching. Give them valid reasons to switch partners. There are tons of valid reasons, it really isn't that hard. Pet peeve number 3. Incompatible characters forced into a relationship because either the author or the publisher feels that the book cannot survive without a romance. If your publisher or contract says you need a romance and you feel like you have no other choice, just rewrite the characters you imagined to make them compatible, because the reader will be able to tell that you're just shoving these characters together for no good reason. And if we're spending the whole book yelling, "Why does she love him?" we're probably not going to enjoy that book, and we will probably throw it against a wall. Pet peeve number 2, random and unnecessary drama. Especially when it doesn't tie into the book's theme at all. Just weave the drama into the conflict, please. It's not that hard. I believe in you, you can do it. In Alethea, 736 and Jason have a falling out. But guess what it relates to? The plot. The falling out has to do with the fact that 736 has hurt, kidnapped, and even possibly killed people that Jason could have potentially known and even grown up with. And they're forced to actually think about that and acknowledge it. And that comes with a whole pack of emotions that ties directly into not only their character arcs, but the plot overall. If the falling out has to do with a character hanging out with a character of the opposite sex, that is shallow and I will scream. Not literally, I'm not that committed, but I would hypothetically scream. And I will throw your book against the wall because that's a lot easier than screaming, and I'm perfectly okay with doing that. And last but not least, my largest sex and romance pet peeve that just bugs me. Number 1, when the author teases sex for literally the entire series, and then the series ends literally seconds before the sex ensues. You might think, no author would be that cruel. What kind of author would do that to their readers? Authors do that. That's a thing. You know what book did that? Daughter of Smoke and Bone. And no, I don't count this sex scene from when she was in the other body. Flashbacks don't count. That's not, no. Give me the porn or I will throw the book. You don't have to give me the porn in the first book or even the second book, but if you end the series right before the porn, I will be upset. I would even take a fade to black sex scene. I'm that understanding. But no, I will never forgive the author of the Daughter in Smoke and Bone series for doing that. Never. Alright, so that was my top 9 sex and romance pet peeves in fiction. Let me know in a comment down below which of these you shared with me and which of these made you angry at me, because maybe they're things that you absolutely love, like the mated and bonded pair thing that so many people seem to love and I personally just really hate. And let me know some of your pet peeves. I would love to hear them. If you haven't already bought Alethea, why not? It's available in hardcover, paperback, and ebook. That's 3 different formats. You can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Book Depository, all sorts of places. You can also find signed copies at cloudkittenmarket.com. Remember to like and share. It really does make a difference and it helps our channel grow. It means the world to me. Subscribe and share. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video.